and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events, and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and the glue that holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off another episode.
You're playing with fire, and I intend to pour some gasoline.
Off the early half of the year alone, 2017 has been considered one of the great years in gaming. That's largely due to games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Neo, Halo Wars 2, and a whole host of more games. The back half looks to be continuing this trend with some excellent games that are all on the way. Both portable, handheld, PC, console, indie, AAA, it covers the whole gambit. And in this week's episode, I've picked out 5 games, ones that you owe it to yourself to at least keep an eye on going into this holiday season. And if you've not planned to buy them, maybe it's worth considering it.
I never heard a fart like this, man. The kid just started farting on people.
The first game for discussion today is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. It's a sequel to the 2013 game, The Stick of Truth, and it picks up more or less exactly where the boys finished off last time. Though this time they decided not to roleplay as fantasy heroes, but this time superheroes. And in this case, that includes DC heroes like The Flash, we're talking Marvel heroes like Iron Man. There's all these little references in there. Obviously they're not playing specifically as Iron Man or The Flash, there's licensing issues there. But they're basically taking the piss out of each and every one of these franchises in a variety of different ways, in the unique way that makes us love South Park. Now the first thing to note as Australians is that the game is allowed in our country. Unrated, uncensored, as its rating got through, it's R. So if you're below 18, you're going to have to get some help to get your hands on this one if that's what you want. Look, the game's coming in, it's uncensored, so we're not going to get the same rubbish that we got in the first game with scenes cut out because apparently we were too fragile and incapable of viewing such content. But otherwise, the game itself kind of disregards the JRPG style mechanics introduced in the first game in favour of a more tactical approach here. There's the 3-tier line battle combat, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. So look forward to the game when it comes out October 17th. Just a month away. It's going to be awesome. Look forward to it.
I've been given $20,000 to take care of you. What? But I only need a few hundred for that. So you know what I'm gonna do with all the rest?
Go to Paris to get a Pete Allen-House fit and fuck French chicks? Super Craig.
The second game for discussion today is one of 3 games that are coming on October 27th this year. The first one, though, for discussion is Super Mario Odyssey. Now, I've spoken about this in depth already. There's an insider episode where I kind of talk about all the things you need to know. But the reason you need to pay attention to this game is because the intention with Super Mario Odyssey is to go back to the classic 3D style approach that we saw in the likes of Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine. Both of those games considered classics. Not to say the Galaxy wasn't, but there's a lot of love and a lot of nostalgia for that style of game, those self-contained levels, and it seems like Nintendo's delivering it. So we've seen him in a range of different costumes, we've seen a range of different aspects of gameplay, he's collecting moons, there's all sorts of stuff going on here. It seems like Nintendo is throwing all their weight behind it, and given the successes that they've already had this year with Mario plus Rabbids, admittedly a Ubisoft game, but a Mario license, the success they've had with Zelda, the success that they've had with ARMS and Splatoon 2, they're on a roll at the moment, and let's not rule out the fact that Super Mario Odyssey could be the game of the year. Had it not been for a really poor prologue, Wolfenstein The New Order could have been the very best game of 2014. It was already considered amongst one of the best of that year. Had it not been for a dodgy prologue, who knows how high it could have reached. Well, Wolfenstein II The New Colossus is on its way. It's another one of those games that's coming October 27th, vying off with Mario and one other that I'll talk about shortly. And essentially it looks to up the ante significantly from what we saw in the first game. It is still a single player only experience. Coming from Bethesda, what else would you expect? But it looks to channel the same weird, quirky style that the first game and previous games in the Wolfenstein franchise kind of inspired, and looks to just take it so much further with range of new combat, an awesome story that sees us skirting through America and Nazi invaded and basically owned America, and as we try and fight to survive and maybe take down a few Nazis along the way. Check out the game, it's coming October 27th, look forward to it, it's going to be a big game.
Diesel, no! No, stop him, Diesel! No, let him stop, Diesel! Diesel! bad girl.
Our fourth game for discussion today, and again another one that's coming October 27th, is Assassin's Creed Origins. Now the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the story around the game specifically. We're fairly familiar with an Assassin's Creed game and the formula that tends to take. Ubisoft themselves, several years ago, went out and said that we will keep making these games annually until you stop buying them. Now, admittedly, Syndicate still sold millions and millions of copies, but the sale numbers for that game were way down compared to the history of the franchise. That might have been because of the relative failure of Assassin's Creed Unity, the game that came before it, because Syndicate itself was a fantastic game. But Ubisoft took the feedback, they took a year off. Assassin's Creed is now back this year. It's set in Egypt. They've included a whole bunch more RPG elements. It really, really looks like a refined, polished Assassin's Creed experience that makes me think this franchise is back on track again. Hopefully they don't dwell too much in this current day sort of setting with the sci-fi and the Animus and all that, and we just get to experience the world itself that we're playing in as an assassin. But this game could be one of the greats of the year. So keep your eye on it. Again, October 27th, PS4, Xbox One, PC. The fifth and final game for discussion today is Star Wars Battlefront 2. One that I've already dedicated an episode to, but needs some second wind. Basically, Star Wars Battlefront 2 ups the ante significantly in what we saw in the first game. The multiplayer is far bigger, there's some awesome tweaks to the established formula there to make things a little bit more accessible for everyone and ensure that the elite don't just remain that level and the rest of us just can't even get close. And of course, the main thing, and something that I basically focused on quite heavily through that last episode that I spoke about it, is the single player campaign starring Iden Verso, starring Imperials. You're playing an Imperial. There's really, really cool things that appears to be happening with the narrative, and I can't wait to see what they've got in store. It links into this core canon Star Wars. It's going to weave in and out of stories that have already been established and that we already know, whilst also filling in some gaps and maybe leading into something bigger that we'll see in the future. Look forward to the game. It's coming November 17th to PS4, PC, Xbox One. It could be one of the games of the year, just like the other games I've spoken about. So those are my 5 games that I believe that if you're not already considering, you really need to start doing so. They're coming pretty soon, and there's going to be a lot of hype building about each of these titles. But there's a whole bunch of others that I didn't mention. Middle-earth Shadow of War, there's some indie games in the likes of Battle Chasers and Cuphead, all they're only a couple of weeks away. And there's a whole host more that I've just not had the time to be able to talk about in this week's episode. So make sure to check them out. Maybe let me know in the comments what games you're interested in, why you're interested in them, because I want to get a bit of vibe and a feel for what you guys are thinking out there in the community. Please make sure to like, share and subscribe to this channel so you can catch up with weekly episodes of Patched, the Video Games Club, weekly Player 2 Plays episodes, and of course The Insider. Make sure to visit the website, player2.net.au, where you can find all the awesome written content. We're about to kick off a long feature about Destiny 2, given the game just came out this week. And there's going to be obviously the usual reviews and previews and other opinion pieces that are all going to be coming, and you can only find at the site. Again, some of the best writers in Australia write for a Player 2, so you're going to be getting some awesome content. Make sure to check it out. Make sure to visit me, Paul James P2 on Twitter. Make sure to catch up with the site, Player2AU on Twitter. Both those places allow you to keep up with all the updates and things that have been going on at the site. It's a great little portal to access myself, Matt, a whole bunch of others from the team, and of course all the content at the site. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.